But yeah, right, that's be working. Greetings all, not the norm here. What's the date today? 14th of 6th, 2022. Haven't been on for a wee while. I was just fluffing around the net here, so I thought I'd just show you some of the things I found. I was only just starting to look into it actually. It was all to do with regards to mate and I were talking about the conduct of the police with regards to how they treated the freedom protesters outside the Parliament steps in Wellington. Around the 8th of March, I think it was the main one, but there were several incidences and several occasions where the police confronted the Freedom Village people who were out there exercising their freedom right to protest. Anyway, so I was looking at the police code of conduct, so I'm going to have to use my phone to flip you around because I couldn't find the flip button, so just give me a second here while I hook you up. So there we are. So here we are on DuckDuckGo, and police code of conduct there. Hopefully you can see my mouse there. Police code of conduct. So you click on that, takes you to this to the website here, the police code of conduct. You can go and find this PDF online. Just go to www.police.government.nz and you'll find a link in there somewhere. But anyway, I was just looking at the code of conduct here, looking over a couple of things. You can't quite see that all. I should bring it back a bit, but you can't quite read it. Anyway, it says helping us live our values every day so we earn the trust and confidence of everyone in New Zealand. Well, I think they've pretty much dented that facade. Okay, so it's full of the contents there. You've got Commissioner's comment, introduction. We have high standards on page 6, and we protect our people, our information and our resources, page 7. We do right by others, page 8. We are responsible, page 9. What does misconduct and serious misconduct look like? Well, there's a few things there that are pretty questionable, I would say. But anyway, this guy here, he's our Commissioner of Police, Andrew Costa. And so this is his commissioner's comment. And I just was looking at the page and thought I might highlight a few things over here so you can have a bit of a look and I'll give you my take on what's going on here. So I'll just expand that a bit. So first of all, in red there you can see I've got the commissioner's comment highlight, and commissioner to commission. You've got to understand a commission is like a bonus or a cut or a you know, it's like an employee of a company might get a commission of the sales he makes. If he makes a certain quota at the end of the month, he might get a commission of those sales, or a cut, if you like, of those sales. So he's out there, he's the commissioner, he's out there commissioning others, and you know, they're getting a cut of what's going on. And that kind of brings into question the, you know, we've heard it before about how police have a certain quota of tickets and infringements and whatnot that they need to keep up with to maintain their employment, if you like. And if they do really well and get lots of those sorts of things, then they rise higher in the ranks, and that's kind of what we hear. But anyway, so yeah, it starts off as employees of the New Zealand Police. Okay, now employ, for those that might not know, comes from two words. EM is in English translates to for, and ploy is deceit. So just to highlight that there for you. So it says, as employees of the New Zealand Police, we are individually and collectively responsible for how we conduct ourselves. Well, that's a pretty powerful statement there, because it's saying that not only collectively as the company of police, but individually as a man and a woman underneath the uniform, then you know, acting as an agent, as a policy enforcement officer or a constable, which we possibly could get into. We have enough time here, but anyway, goes on to say the New Zealand Police's reputation is vital. Well, I'd say they've pretty much damaged that after Parliament and their the way they you know, dealt with the situation. But we also know that there were other things that were going on in the country at that time that you know, the police's actions on the day proved to be a great distraction from, as a few Kiwis might know. Anyway, so New Zealand Police's reputation is vital, and I would agree, in achieving our business. So it's a business, so they quite clearly state their business, and their business is obviously to enforce the policies of the legislation, because they're policy enforcement officers. Anyway, With social media, we are scrutinised more than ever as an organisation and as individuals. They are just reiterating those points again. As an organisation, as individuals, but they're a business too. The organisation's a business, and they clearly states that there. He says it's even got a capital O and a capital B there too, which is interesting. Anyway, with social media, as I say, they're scrutinised more and more, which I agree they should be. They should actually have body cams on them at all times when they're out in operation. So how we go about policing is as important as the outcomes we achieve. Okay. As Commissioner, the priorities I have introduced enable us to build on high levels of trust and confidence New Zealanders have in police. Well, they might have had high levels of trust and confidence, mate, but I'm sorry to say that these measures that you say that you've introduced, that I have introduced, the priorities I have introduced, that's interesting. He's got priorities there. And if the exercises on Parliament steps are any indication of those priorities, then we can see how they're going to operate in the future. This character here. She's got very pinpointy eyes here too, I just kind of noticed. Yeah, you'd think there'd be a lot of light in that room when that photo's taken, but his pupils are quite dilated. Anyway, getting distracted there. Where was I? Here we go. Introduced. Introduced. Oh yeah, so he's introduced these things, and he's quite obviously proud of them. So it goes on to say that the community rightly holds us to high standards, rightly so, of behaviour in both our work and our private lives. Wow, that's interesting. We're not allowed to know anything about their private lives. So how do we know that they are rightly holding these high standards of behaviour that they talk about? How do we know? We don't, do we? Who knows what they get up to in their private lives? Who knows what clubs and organisations or Freemasonic societies or crafts that they're involved in? Who knows? Who really knows these things, what they're getting up to? I'd say that's quite important for us to know as the public of New Zealand. These people are out there with all sorts of authority, assumed authority. Anyway, as employees of New Zealand Police, that means people who are there out to deceive, of New Zealand Police, we must be mindful of our behaviour at all times. Whether we are working or not, we represent the organisation. See that? They tell you very clearly there who they represent, mate. They represent the organisation. Not you, not the people, not the public, not your rights, not your freedoms, your freedom of speech. Clearly they showed that on the Parliament lawns. And this is them being mindful of our behaviour. So I'd be a little bit concerned. It's a little bit concerning anyway for me. I recognise that no code, goes on to say here, I recognise that no code can detail every behaviour expected of us. Well, that opens the door right up. However, our code of conduct is a guiding document that sets out common standards of behaviour for all of us. Let me read it again. So, our code of conduct is a guiding document that sets out common standards of behaviour for all of us. Now, if I was to go into a crowd and do what the police did to the mums and dads and fathers and people of all walks of lives and job descriptions and socio-economic levels and the good salted earth of the people, now if I was to go in there and start bashing them and doing all sorts of things, I'm sure I would get into quite a bit of trouble. And I would be scrutinised, and possibly my freedoms would be taken away from me, because I do believe that would be called assault, and I would be in quite a bit of trouble. So anyway, the other half of this page here, I've skipped it over there, I might make it bigger for you. Goes on to say that our code asks us to consciously exhibit behaviour which is aligned to our values. Wow, that again, that's pretty scary stuff. When you see some of the alternative social media video of the interaction of police with protesters exercising their rights on those in that event of the Freedom Village occupation. So yeah, very, very, very scary. Consciously exhibit This code asks us to consciously exhibit behaviour which is aligned to our values. Now, if they're consciously exhibiting that kind of behaviour, then there's grave concerns there, I would say, for the health and safety of the public. So this is what they profess. Their values are professionalism, respect, integrity, commitment to Māori and the treaty. Commitment to Māori and the treaty. Now that's a bit of a red light for me, because if this is their behaviour and these are the values that the police are aligned with, and they've got a commitment to Māori and the treaty, a specific commitment, because they specifically stated here, it's not like a commitment to Māori or to Pākehā of New Zealand or the Chinese, New Zealand Chinese, or New Zealand Muslims or anything, is it? It's a particular race that they're targeting, and if you're being targeted by this organisation whose business is to exhibit behaviour which we saw and we often see in situations where police are dealing with public, then I would be very, very concerned about that, and that would be discrimination, and I wouldn't be very happy if I was a Māori about that. But anyway, so empathy. I don't think they showed much empathy on that day, and valuing diversity. Yeah, wow. They treated everybody equally, whether it was dads or mums or, whatever. Even a young lad they pulled out and didn't waterboard, but they did what do they call that? Boarding, where the police officers, big police officers, both hands leaning with only his feet and his hands on this young fella's head into the grass, and that's the kind of accepted behaviour they have. And that's so they didn't really care. They were valuing diversity, all right. They didn't care who they pulled out. A naked lady that they stomped on, people got bashed. There was all sorts of things. There were broken bones. Some elderly fella got punched in the face twice, and he was knocked out. Some guy got his eyes gouged. Another chap who's was a candidate here in New Zealand for one of the parties, got his hips broken, there were sternums broken. So that's the kind of behaviour that the police are exhibiting. And if they're particularly committed to Māori and the treaty, well, I'll be very concerned about that if I was Māori. Colonising, we know what the colon is. The colon is the part of the stomach that turns all good food to shit. So that colonisation is, we need to be really questioning that, folks. And of course, it's the Pacific, isn't it? It's the Pacific, the pacification of the nation in the Pacific. That's what the pacification's all about. But anyway, another story there. So the context we operate within, it goes on to say here, so the context we operate within requires us all to bring humanity, empathy, cultural awareness and understanding, along with integrity, to all our interactions within our communities and each other. And I just say, oh my God, if this is it, if what we saw is their way of operating with empathy and cultural awareness and humanity, along with understanding, because they're under the law, these guys, but anyway, when they're operating in that jurisdiction, so along with integrity, and so that's how their interactions are going to roll, folks. And believe it or not, the police are actually trained not to trust you. That's how their training works. That's why they're trained to question you so much, and you need to turn that round and question them, because it's all about questioning. Anyway, New Zealand, it goes on to say here, New Zealand police plays a significant role in New Zealand society. The New Zealand society, that's interesting. New Zealand society, who they are. I am humbled to work with people every day who are committed to the high standards of conduct we expect from each other. That's within the police, I think. We are all leaders because the general public wouldn't act anywhere in any way, shape or form the way the police acted on that day. And they were applauded. Andrew Costa applauded and was very proud of the way his officers had dealt with the situation. So they've pretty much told you there. It goes on to say here, I am humbled to work with people every day who are committed to high standards of conduct. Yeah, I read that, sorry. So we are all leaders in how we conduct ourselves. That's right, we're all responsible, we're all leaders, we're all liable for our actions and responsible. And more importantly is obligatory. We have obligations that we need to stand by and stand under and understand, because there are some things you do need to understand, folks. Overstand and understand, yes, but understanding some things is extremely important as well. But anyway, So as an organisation, our reputation in the community reflects our values, and the public's trust and confidence in us is enhanced. Oh, sorry, yeah, so we're all leaders in how we conduct ourselves. So as an organisation there, folks, it's a business, it's a company, it's an organisation, not answerable to you. Our reputation in the community reflects our values, and the public's trust and confidence in us is enhanced. So they're going to continue to build on the reputation they have. Excuse me, I'm going to have a drink. Build on the reputation that they have. Well, I would be very, very concerned about that, because you know, the reputation they've built over the last couple of years, and the fiascos that have gone on, and you know, with the incident that happened in Christchurch and all sorts of things. So the code of conduct goes into all sorts of other detail here, and I just haven't got the time to pick it all apart. But I, excuse me, thought I'd just give you that wee intro to it there. Of course, if you want to check me out, you're probably already checking me out there on my YouTube channel, Not the Norm. So you can check me out there. Also on Rumble. I'm actually Freeman's on Rumble. But I've got a few videos here. I'm actually trying to move all my videos over to these other platforms, because I've already had 2 strikes. If I get another strike on YouTube, I'm out the gate, so to speak. So I've got Not the Norm on BitChute. I haven't, actually I should be, oh, there we go. I've loaded a few videos up there, but you go and check me out there. What else do I have there? Oh, I'm on MeWe as well. I've got MeWe, Not the Norm there. As a page, and I've also got my Norm Collins page anyway. But anyway, I just thought I'd just give you a bit of an insight into that code of conduct of the police, and yeah, encourage you to look into that yourself. And if you've got some complaints or some issues, and you were obviously assaulted, as many were, and wrongfully arrested on the day, then maybe you should look into their code of conduct, and maybe bringing some breaches thereof, because I'm sure if you went through it, there'll be a lot there. Anyway, stay well, stay on top of it, educate yourselves, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.